Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the biology class. Last class, we have started with a new chapter, that is flowers. And in that, we have studied about the different parts of the flower. We have discussed that there are 4 parts of the flower, basically 4 parts, among which 2 are essentials and 2 are non-essential part. Essential part are those which are directly responsible for reproduction, whereas non-essential part are those which are not directly involved in reproduction but help in the process of reproduction. And last class I told you we have discussed in detail about the essential parts. Last class I told you non-essential parts. Last class I told you that we are going to discuss this time about the about the essential parts, that is the reproductive parts. So here we are. The first reproductive part is the androecium, that is the male part. Andro itself means the male part. So the androecium altogether is also called as stamens. This stamen has 2 parts, that is the anther and the filament. You can see the figure I have drawn, a rough sketch I have drawn for you. This anther and filament together is called as the stamen. The anther is actually the basic part of the male reproductive system. The anther is actually the main part. The anther and the filament are connected together with the help of a part which is called as connective, which is actually not visible, but it is a binding material for the anther and the filament. Together this anther and the filament is called as the stamen. The anther has, when you see the anther, you will see that it is divided into many parts. It could be divided into 2 parts, so it will be bilobed anther. If it is divided into many parts, then it is multilobed anther. Inside this anther, that is the lobes, the parts, we have pollen sac, a sac-like structure which has powdery substance. The powdery substance, the sac-like structure is called as the pollen sac, and the powdery substance is the pollen grains, which are actually the male gamete. This contains the male gamete. Clear? Now, what is the work of the androecium? We all know that it is the male reproductive part, responsible for reproduction. But separately, if we say, then the anther produces the pollen grains, which contains the male reproductive part. Second, the filament bears the anther in such a manner, this filament, it bears the anther in such a manner that it is as the most suitable position for the transference of pollen grains. If the flower is having only stamens, then it is called as a staminate flower. As I told you last class that sometimes it is not a complete flower, it is incomplete, that is one or the other part is missing. In that case, if it is having only male part and the female part is missing, then we call it as staminate flower. Staminate flower. Now this stamen could be one. The stamen, when I am talking about, then that means I am talking about the filament plus the anther. So this stamen could be one or it could be many, and it depends upon how they are placed. They could be free, they could be fused together. Sometimes it happens that the filaments are fused together and the anthers are free. Or it may be they are fused together to form 2 bundles within a flower and the anthers are free. Sometimes the anthers are fused together, the anther is fused together, and when you open that, you will see that the filaments are free at the base. So all these are having different names. Like if the stamens are fused with the petals, it appears as if they are being fused with the petals. They are originating from petals, like in petunia. It happens in petunia. It's a very common flower present in every garden. In petunia, if you see the petals of the flower and the stamens originate like this. So they are attached to the base of the petal, and this condition is called as epipetalous condition. What is it called? Epipetalous condition. Similarly, if this, as I told you, the filaments could be free or fused. If the filaments are free, or maybe they are not, maybe free, the stamens are free and the filaments are united together. The stamen individually is free, but the filaments are united together. The filaments are free. That is a polydelphous flower. In case if the filaments are fused together to form one, then it is called as monodelphous. When the anther is free, it is called as polydelphous condition. Poly, as I told you, is many, so polydelphous condition. But if they are fused together to form one bunch, as in China rose, then it is called as monodelphous condition. If they are fused in two bunches like this, then it is called as didelphous. Not more than this. Either it could be poly, mono, or didelphous condition. Another condition which you see in sunflower, if you see the center of the sunflower, it is black color round. Those are the pollen grains which are fused together. And when you remove that, you will see that there are thread-like structures hanging from that black structure. So those are the filaments. That means the filaments are free, but the pollen is fused. Such a condition is called as syngenesis condition. What is it called? Syngenesis condition. Right. So what have we studied? The androecium has two parts. The filament is also called as stamen, has two parts, the filament and the anther. The filament and the anther are connected together with the help of a connective, right? And the stamens could be many. The stamens, if they arise from the petal, it is called as epipetalous condition. The stamens could be many. The condition will be polydelphous. If the filaments are fused together and the pollens are free, then it is monodelphous. If the filaments are there in bunches, two bunch, then it is called as didelphous condition. And if all the filaments are free but the pollens are fused, then it is called as syngenesis condition. This was all about the male reproductive part. Now let's talk about the gynoecium. The gynoecium, or the female reproductive part. The gynoecium is also called as the female reproductive part. It is also, in many books, you may find its name as carpel, or it may be called as pistil. It could be called as pistil or carpet, one and the same thing, either carpel or pistil. And as I told you, in incomplete flower, if only the gynoecium is present and the male part is absent, that is androecium is absent, then it is called as carpellate or pistillate flower. Carpellate or pistillate flower. Now the parts of the carpel or the pistil. There are three parts of the carpel and the pistil. That is the stigma. Stigma helps in sticking the pollen grains which are falling on it. Then we have the style, which passes the pollen grain to the actual female part, that is called the ovary. This ovary, as I told you in there also, in male part, this ovary could be bilobed or it could be multilobed, and inside this ovary it contains the ovule. And this ovule is actually, the ovary has the ovule, which is actually the egg or the female gamete. So again, the main function is reproduction, but everybody has its individual function. That is, the ovary or the egg, ovary contains the ovule, that is the egg. The style helps in carrying the pollen grain, and the stigma is there to get the pollen grains. It is positioned in such a manner that it will stick the pollen grades, right? Again, in the same way as I told you there in male reproductive part, depending on the number of gynoecium or number of carpels, it could be monocarpellary. That means only single carpel is present, one female part is present, or there it could be bicarpellary. That means there were more than one carpel present, one gynoecium present, or it could be polycarpellary. Do you get my point? Monocarpellary, that is single carpel, single pistil. Bicarpellary, generally in mustard flowers, which has two carpels present, and if it is more than two carpels, then like in lady's finger, then it is polycarpellary. And the position of the ovary also matters. Sometimes it happens, like if you see in China rose, the ovary is placed below all the four whorls, the petals, the sepals, everything is above the ovary. Okay? That is, the ovary is inferior. Such an ovary is called as epigyne. Epigyne. Gyne stands for gynoecium and epi means inferior ovary. Sunflower, cucumber. Hypogyne, sorry. In China rose it is hypogyne. That is, all the parts are arising from below the ovary. The petal, the sepal, that is, it is a superior ovary, that is hypogyne, hypogynous flower. And if it is neither your superior, neither or inferior, but intermediate, that is, some whorls are arising from in between, then it is called as perigyne. The figures, if you see, are there. The first one is hypogyne. The ovary is placed above it. The ovary is on top and remaining whorls are coming from down. This is superior ovary. This is epigyne, that is the ovary is below and all the whorls are above. And this is intermediate, that is half inferior, that is perigyne, and such flowers are called as perigynous flower. The way they are attached to the ovules are attached, as I told you, ovules are attached to the ovary. It may be attached in this manner, or it may be attached in this manner, or it may be attached like this, or it may be attached like this, or it may be attached in this manner, like this on the. So such a arrangement of the flower ovules in the ovary is called as placentation. The arrangement of the ovary of the ovules inside the ovary is called as placentation. If the flower is having both the sexes, that is both stamen and pistil, then it is called as bisexual flower. It is called as bisexual flower. If it is having only one sex, either the gynoecium or the androecium, then it is called as unisexual flower, right? But if the plant has both the flowers, plant itself has both male and female flowers, some flowers are male and some are female, then it is called as monoecious plant. But if they have only one kind of flower, we have to go to a different plant for the different flower, then it is called as dioecious plant. Monoecious and dioecious plant. That is, yeah. So there are two terms, one is bisexual and unisexual flower, and the other one is monoecious and dioecious plant, right? So what have we studied? We have studied about placentation. We have studied that the female plant is the gynoecium, which is also called as carpel and pistil. The flower could be carpellate or pistillate if it has only the female reproductive part. It consists of three parts: stigma, style and ovary. Inside the ovary we have ovule. The arrangement of the ovules inside the ovary is called as placentation. If there is only one carpel, it is called as monocarpellary. If there are two carpels, it is called as bicarpellary, and many carpels means polycarpellary. Depending on the position of the ovary, it could be superior ovary, inferior ovary, or intermediate ovary, that is hypogyne, perigyne, or epigyne. Then we have one more thing, one more part is your inflorescence. The arrangement of the flower, the term is inflorescence. You might have seen many plants in which the flower may be on top, or the top is empty and the flowers are arising like this, or they are arising alternately like this, right? So this arrangement of flower on the branches is called as inflorescence. What is it called? It is called as inflorescence. With this, we come to the end of the chapter. Please go through the chapter thoroughly. You have a doubt, please put it on the site. I will get back to you. Have a nice day.